While the Fed lowers interest rates, President-elect Barack Obama prepares an enormous stimulus package meant to get the US economy going.
We are running out of the traditional ammunition that's used in a recession, which is to lower interest rates. They're getting to be about as low as they can go. The American Recovery and Reinvestment Act that I will sign today, a plan that meets the principles I laid out in January, is the most sweeping economic recovery package in our history.
On February 7th, 2009, Obama approves a stimulus package worth $787 billion. With the Bush stimulus package from the year before, US politicians have now spent close to $1 trillion to stimulate the US economy. The money is spent on roads, airports, education, unemployment, and other benefits.
There's a bureaucracy in everywhere. And, you know, in Italy, they used to say where I'm from, when you have a jar of honey, you lick your fingers.
The town of Union is located a few hours from the Canadian border. This is where the computer company IBM got its start and grew to be the biggest in the world. The factories are now empty, but the town has acquired a small town rhythm. So there was surprise when $600,000 from the stimulus package arrived to combat homelessness.
You know, on occasion, you know, our police officers may run across someone and they try to, you know, take the person to an area where the individual can get some shelter and get something to eat, but it's not a problem here.
This is Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, probably the world's most famous upscale shopping district. It was here, for example, that Julia Roberts went shopping in Pretty Woman. Stimulus money has made its way here as well. These streets are to be repaved to the tune of $1 million. Sure, there are potholes in the asphalt, but is this really the economy that needs to be stimulated?
We had a $787 billion stimulus bill, but only about 1/3 of it was truly stimulus. By that I mean timely, targeted, and temporary. The other 2/3 were things that people wanted to do, had been wanting to do for a long time, but they didn't want to have to pay for it. They wanted to do it as part of emergency legislation and charge it to the national credit card.
The Johnstown, Pennsylvania airport has 3 scheduled flights a day. Other than that, it's quite empty.
When you have the flights coming, that's when the people are here.
Right.
Other than that, it's empty.
But one face is everywhere. Congressman John Murtha, the airport's namesake. He's been called the King of Pork and has gotten $200 million for Murtha Airport from Washington. Earlier this year, the airport got a new source of revenue, $800,000 from the stimulus package to repave this backup landing strip. The head of the airport insists that the landing strip is safe. So why does it need doing if it's not a safety issue?
Because of the steps we've taken, this plant is about to shift into high gear.
One of the biggest stimulus programs was aimed at the auto industry, cash for clunkers. Turn in your old car and get cash toward a new one from the government. It was so popular that its $1 billion budget ran out in a week, so more money was quickly injected. Many countries offered similar programs. Germany had the biggest one and handed out almost $7 billion to those who scrapped any car more than 9 years old while buying a new one.
Our government seemed to think that German auto industry is so important, we have to support it in some ways, and therefore they created this bonus. They didn't call it a scrapping bonus because I think they knew just how ridiculous that was, so they called it an environment bonus.
Karen Horn is a doctor of economics at the German Economics Institute.
And of course, people took advantage of that. It worked as long as it was on. The program worked, but now it's out, it's over, and of course, numbers are dropping. People are feeling that they ran into additional debt due to that bonus that they wanted to take advantage of, and they're having problems they didn't anticipate.
So Germany spent almost $7 billion to scrap fully functioning cars and to maintain excessive auto factory output. Once the program ended, the industry was right back in the doldrums.
I was just very surprised that people would accept the idea so readily. That they would accept the money is something else, who wouldn't, but that they would find this a solution that they deemed viable. It doesn't give me a very good impression of the rationality of the voter and taxpayer, I must say.
And that's where we are. I think at this point, the problem is now so big that government stimulus is not going to, buy us another 5 or 6 years of phony growth like it did last time. Because we have to accumulate so much more debt now. Because the bigger the problem gets, the more we have to stimulate to get that short-term boost. But now the bigger the bust, because now we have a bigger stimulus, to get out of the economy.
About a year after the worst economic crisis in modern history, Lehman Brothers is gone. But apart from that, Wall Street looks much the same. Many banks are reporting record profits. The world's stock markets have skyrocketed. The market is finally breathing a sigh of relief. But isn't it somewhat uncomfortable? Haven't we been here before? All the measures that we have taken to save the economy, the low interest rates, the massive debt, the safety net for the financial industry, these are the very things that led us into a crisis in the first place. We've been saved from the consequences of one burst bubble by inflating 100 new ones all over the world.
One year ago, I took office amid 2 wars, an economy rocked by a severe recession, a financial system on the verge of collapse, and a government deeply in debt. Experts from across the political spectrum warned that if we did not act, we might face a second depression. So we acted, immediately and aggressively. And 1 year later, the worst of the storm has passed.
Viens avec moi à l'hôtel d'amour. L'amour est partout. L'amour est pur et libre. Réaliser tes rêves à l'hôtel d'amour.
There are positive signs. This is the Hamptons outside New York, a classic playground for Manhattan's elite. A house by the Atlantic like this one costs $30 million. And a hot dog bun with lobster salad costs $18. Fast food, Hampton style. The crisis has made its mark here too. There are fewer private jets at the airport. Instead, the Porsches jostle the Mercedes on the turnpike to New York.
New York City, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, California don't represent the real world. They also don't represent the real part of America, the so-called Main Street of America.
My tax money go to Beverly Hill. Well, there's a lot of money in Beverly Hill. I don't think they needed my money down there. That's a different world. That's not a reality, than that.
If you ever visit Union and need a haircut, you may well end up at Frank Petrilli's barbershop.
But unfortunately, a lot of people lost their homes because they lost their jobs. And they're not living the life that one time were able to do it. a lot of the young people, especially educated, they try to move, go out of town. But I believe no matter where they go, the situation is the same all over. Where are they going to go? Detroit?
Now listen, son. I wasn't going to tell you this, but you're the reason we came here all the way from Indiana. You've heard all the talkers. Now I'm going to show you the doers.
The US government has launched bailouts, stimulus packages and guarantees to the tune of $10,000 billion.
Caught myself wondering for the 100th time how the hell I got here. What the hell I'm doing here.
That's more than the total cost to the US government for World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the invasion of Iraq, the New Deal, the Marshall Plan, and the moon landing. Bush almost racked up more US debt than all presidents before him combined, from George Washington to Bill Clinton. And Obama is almost creating greater debt than all presidents before him, including George W. Bush.